Lead attorney here. Hope you guys are doing well. Can Charlamagne Tha God's criminal case be reopened? This is what so many of you want to know. I've seen the comments. I have over 100 comments in my videos asking if Charlamagne's case can be reopened. And you know, it's with good reason, right? You guys are like, lead attorney, Charlamagne Tha God. How do you call him the God? We'll call him, I call him cease and desist Charlamagne, right? Can cease and desist Charlamagne be prosecuted for what happened to that child, for what happened to Jessica Reid, right? This is what you guys are saying. You're saying, lead attorney, he violated her, allegedly. And now as an adult, she's come forward. She's come forward to tell her story. Her mother also has come forward. So you guys are asking, and it's legitimate, if the child who is now an adult has come forward, if the mother now has come forward, why can he not be prosecuted? You guys want to know if it's because of the statute of limitations. So we're going to talk all about it. You guys are going to know the truth. Now, shout out to Kwame Brown. Kwame really is the one who put this on the map. Now, I know, I see it in the comments. Some of you are like, oh, you know, we knew this back in 2016, 2017, 2018. Some of you guys knew it. Fair enough. What you have to realize is that there are hundreds of thousands of people that didn't know anything about this. Guys, there are millions and millions of people in the nation that do not follow the Breakfast Club. All of this is new to us. So Kwame is the one who's really putting this on the map for us. Also, shout out to Kwame because he watches my videos. He referenced me in one of his live streams. So shout out to Kwame. Please believe that we are Team Kwame over here. We all know that he's got some detractors in the media space. We see him being attacked, and we just want him to sprinkle some of his mama's cooking all over these media talking heads. But now, guys, listen, let's get back because this is serious. What did Kwame expose? What did he show? Guys, let's take a look at the indictment. Let's take a look at the indictment that Kwame it was already public, but I promise you, millions of people did not know about this. Now, what are we looking at? We are looking at cease and desist Charlamagne's indictment, right? And what is he indicted for? What was he indicted for by the grand jury? The grand jury indicted cease and desist Charlamagne. You see it right here, for criminal sexual conduct with a minor, right? And what does it say? That Leonard L. M. Kelvey, is that how you say it? Did in Berkeley County on or about the 8th day of June, 2001, willfully, unlawfully, and feloniously engage in penile vaginal intercourse with a 15-year-old female. Guys, can you believe that we're talking about a 15-year-old girl, right? Like the allegations in this charging document, the allegations in this indictment are crazy. Why is he not in jail? Especially now that the victim has come forward with her story. She's in her 30s now. The mother has corroborated this. Why cannot the case be reopened? In fact, and really this is the biggest part, right? Cease and desist Charlamagne himself. Cease and desist Charlamagne himself has admitted to this. So why is the prosecution dragging their feet? Why don't they reopen the case based on not only what Jessica says, based on not only what Jessica mom says, but based on what cease and desist Charlamagne says himself? Like, this is what you guys want to know. And I see it in the comments. You're like, oh, well, it's the statute of limitations, right? It's the statute of limitations in South Carolina. Now, let's talk about this for a second. What is the statute of limitations? What is it, right? What really is it? Well, basically, what you guys have to understand that crimes can expire. If you commit a crime and the state does not do anything about it within a prescribed period of time, then once that time limit hits, the state cannot do anything about it anymore, right? And this time period is called the statute of limitations. The state is limited. In terms of the time that it has to charge you, to indict you. Now, why do crimes expire? Does this make sense? And yes, it does make sense, guys. You don't want to be 85 years old and then someone accuse you of a crime that happened 60 years ago, because you're 85, right? You might not remember what you had for breakfast. You might not remember the name of the nurse that gave you a bath this morning. How are you supposed to remember what happened 40 years ago when now someone has come out of the woodworks and accuses you of something that you could go to prison for? You could spend the rest of your life in prison and not even be able to defend yourself because someone waited 40 years, 50 years to bring these charges to you. Maybe you had some witnesses that if they would have brought this case in a timely manner, those witnesses could have testified in your defense, right? But maybe they're gone now, they've moved, maybe some of them have died. Same with the evidence. Maybe you had evidence in your home that would have proved that you were innocent, but over 40 years, 50 years, you get rid of it, right? Or maybe there was other evidence that you could have obtained. But now with the passage of all these decades, the evidence is gone. Now you can't mount a successful defense. Now, believe me that the state has the burden. The state has the burden to prove you are guilty, but in most cases, you are going to want to have evidence on your side as well to prove that you are innocent. Without a statute of limitations, you can be brought up at 80, 90 years old for things that you don't even remember, for events that you could have proven yourself innocent of, but now the witnesses and the evidence are gone. That's why the statute of limitations is so important. Now, the key thing to remember about statute of limitations, guys, is that it varies from state to state. Some places it could be 10 years, some places 15, some places 20 years. And it will also depend on the crime, right? If you wrote a bad check, let's say it's a misdemeanor, that has one statute of limitations. It might only be a year, right? But if you punch somebody in the face, if it rises to the level of aggravated assault, then maybe in certain jurisdictions it's not 1 year anymore. Maybe it's 10 years, maybe it's 15 years that person can come back and charge you, or the state can come back and charge you with that crime. Well, guess what, guys? South Carolina is hardcore, right? In South Carolina, for this type of crime, there's no statute of limitations. There's none. So people in the comments, they say, oh, the statute of limitations is run, so the state can't come back. No, that's not what it is, because in South Carolina, there is no statute of limitations. Now that Jessica has come forward, now that the mom has come forward, now that Charlamagne a few years ago on an interview admitted to violating Jessica. Now the state can say, oh, all of this evidence, all of this testimony, and your confession, we are reopening the case. And the statute of limitations is no bar to that. It's no barrier to that. The statute of limitations does not enter into it because in South Carolina, there's no statute of limitations. So you say, well, lead attorney, if there's no statute of limitations, what's the problem? Why isn't the case reopened? And that's a fair question. You guys want to know why he wasn't prosecuted. But here's the thing. Guys. He was prosecuted. Look at this. He was indicted. Right? He was indicted. The district attorney's office, it says right here, they got a grand jury. I don't know if you guys can see this. They got a grand jury here on August 29th of 2001. The grand jury of Berkeley County, they issued this indictment, right? So the prosecution started. The wheels were turning. The process was in effect, and the state was going for his neck. The state wanted, what do I call him? Cease and desist Charlamagne. That's what I call him over here. He cease and desist Charlamagne. The state wanted to get him. So you say, well, what happened? Why isn't he in prison? This is what you guys know. I mean, some of you already know the story, right? This is new to so many of us, but some of you already know the mom stopped it. Right? We were talking about a 15-year-old girl, and the mom said, hold up. Let's stop all of this. I don't want my child to go through this process. I don't want her to have to testify. There could be a stigma. Associated with this. Guys, they weren't living in New York City, right? They weren't living in LA with millions of people. This is some place in South Carolina. It's a small place. Everybody knows each other. This really is why cease and desist Charlamagne got in trouble in the first place, because he tried to air out Kwame's dirty laundry. He tried to air out the bad things that were going on with Kwame's family, even though Kwame didn't have any relationship to the activities that cease and desist Charlamagne was talking about. And cease and desist Charlamagne tried to group him in. He tried to group Kwame in with all of these bad acts that allegedly took place, and tried to say, oh, well, because this man is Kwame's brother, and this man is Kwame's father, and this man is Kwame's other brother, then they all can snap, right? Then they all could wake up with violence. He tried to lump them all in. But how did he know this in the first place? Because it's a small community. It's a small community. So the mother said, no. I'm not gonna allow all of this. I just want my child to heal. She's 15 years old. She has been traumatized. I do not want her to go through all of this in a small town. So the mother stopped it. The mother said the child was not going to testify. Now, guys, this basically killed the case. You can try to bring a case with circumstantial evidence, but in a case like this, you need your star witness. You need your victim. Your victim is gonna have to testify. She's the star of the whole show. So by the mom saying that she was not gonna allow her child to testify, she basically killed the whole case. She killed the whole indictment. You know, if you're in the Super Bowl and you're in the first quarter and TB12, your franchise player, if he goes down with a broken ankle, that's it. That's it. Who's the second string? It doesn't matter. You might as well not even have a second string. If you're down there in Tampa Bay and that quarterback goes down, TB12 goes down, that's a wrap, right? And it was the same thing for this case. They had the indictment, they had convened the grand jury, they were ready to rock and roll, and the star witness goes down. That's the end of it. Case is over. So the state tries to get what they can get. They give him a plea offer to a misdemeanor and he pleads out. And guys, here, this is the point. This is the point. This is the whole reason why the case cannot be reopened. The reason that he cannot be prosecuted fully to the crime that he's already admitted to is because he reached this plea deal. Now, what is a plea deal? It's basically an agreement. It's an agreement between you and the state. And plea deals are negotiated, right? The prosecution negotiates with either you or your attorney, and you try to come to a resolution that you both can live with. On the prosecution side, the DA's office realized that their star quarterback, their franchise player just went down. Gone, right? So they don't really have a lot left. They have some circumstantial evidence, but it's not enough to assure that they're going to win that case. And they don't want to lose. Prosecutions, guys, DA's offices, they do not like to lose. They want to keep a high conviction rate. So they're going to want you to plead out. They're going to want you to plead guilty. So they try to give him something. What did they offer? They offered this misdemeanor, contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Now, Charlamagne's like, yes, run it. You guys were trying to take my freedom. I was looking at years. I was looking at penitentiary time. And now you're going to offer me some probation? He's like, listen, where do I sign? Where do I sign? Just give me the paperwork. Give me the probation, right? He was ready to sign on anything that didn't involve going to prison. So they reached that deal. They reached that negotiated plea deal. And now that cease and desist Charlamagne accepted, what happened? He spent some time on probation. I'm sure he paid some state fines. They got into his pockets a little bit, and that was it. And the state, on their side, they got to say that they got a conviction out of that someone pled guilty to whatever happened that night. Whatever happened that night, someone pled guilty to something, so that's a little notch on their belt. They can say that was a conviction. And guys, really, so that's it. That's it, right? It's a deal. It's basically like a beefed up contract. And the prosecution has already said, they recently said, we are not going to renege on this deal. He lived up to the terms of it. He served the probation. He paid his fines. He did what he needed to do to complete his part of the deal. We got a benefit of the deal. You know, we got to say that someone in this incident was convicted, right? Our conviction rate went up, right? So we get to look good. So we got the benefit as well. So both sides completed what they needed to do. Both sides got a benefit, and that's it. We are not reopening. We are not reneging on the deal that we reached so many years ago. But now, guys, listen, a lot of you wanted to know how the plea deals work, right? And I did a whole video on it. I did a whole video, my very first video on this whole topic about how Charlamagne could have gotten that plea deal, why plea deals are offered. And I'll let you know, I got criticized for that video. I got criticized for it. But I'll tell you, some of the criticism was fair. Some of you guys criticized me because you don't want a black man talking about another black man. You don't want that Charlamagne gets deplatformed or gets dethroned as the king, right? You want him as Charlamagne the God, right? You don't want to see your God fall. So you're supporting your man and you criticize me for it. Fair enough. I don't pay any attention to that criticism, but there was a fair criticism of it. Some of you said, well, lead attorney, listen, I like your video and I understand the plea deals, but it seems to me, lead attorney, it seems to me that you don't know the backstory of this case. You guys were saying, it seems to me that you don't know the backstory of, what do I call him? A cease and desist Charlamagne. Now guys, listen, that's a fair criticism. Let me tell you guys something. I am an attorney down here in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been practicing 20 years. Guys, I only know one thing. I don't know about cars. I don't know about basketball. I don't know about celebrity gossip. I only know about these law books over here. That's all I know. I only know the law. That's it. You guys come to me for the law and I explain facets of the law to you. This is the same criticism I got when I did the Derrick Jackson video. If you want to see that video, I'll link it above and you guys can watch that. It's a good video. And this was the same situation. Everybody came, oh, lead attorney. Tasha K just got a gag order. What is a gag order? How does it work? How can I get one? Everybody wanted to know how to get their own gag order. So I did a video on it. I talked about gag orders. I explained the whole thing to you. And if you watch that video, one thing will be clear. Two things will be clear. Number one, if you watch that video, you will understand all facets of a gag order. You will understand how they work. And number two, you will know that I didn't really know much at all about who Tasha K was. I didn't know about the Derrick Jackson situation. I didn't know they had their own thing going. I didn't know anything. I only know the law, guys. I don't know celebrity gossip. One thing I did find interesting though is that Derrick Jackson, he commented on that video. So Kwame and Derrick Jackson, whoever I make a video about, it feels good to know that they're watching it. You guys might not know this, but in January of this year, January of 2021, I had 1,000 subscribers. So the channel is growing. Please subscribe. We're doing big things over here. But listen, the same criticism that you guys were talking about with the Derrick Jackson saying, hey, lead attorney, it seems like you don't know who this Derrick Jackson guy is. It seems that you don't even know who Tasha K is. That's true. It's the same criticisms that you guys are hitting me now saying, hey, you don't really know who cease and desist Charlamagne is. Guys, you come to me for the law side of things. If you come to me about plea deals, I'm going to tell you how they work. I'm going to tell you the considerations that the state will take into account when they offer you your plea deal. So guys, I'm old. If you want to know anything other than the law side of things, go to TMZ, go to Tasha K. You can go other places. Stop expecting, y'all know how we are as black people, right? We go to the barbecue, we want all our food on the same plate. No, stop expecting all of your food on the same plate. You can have side dishes. You can have a 3-course meal, a 5-course meal. I'm just the lobster fettuccine over here, guys. You guys can have other things and you take them all together. Right? Take what the lead attorney tells you. Take what TMZ tells you. Take what Tasha K tells you. But get the whole picture. Don't expect one YouTuber to give you the whole damn thing. Now, if you want to know more about the legal side of these events, subscribe to the channel. Now, none of this has been legal advice, okay? I am not your attorney. I am the lead attorney, and I'm here to help you lawyer up.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth!